Thanks for tuning in again. And it's been a huge week for me. And so I found some time to get this video out because it's been an incredible time. And I've been rescuing babies at the moment. This week has been full on rescuing babies and bringing in their soul. They've been born without their souls. There's been a disconnection, and I've been really quite taken back on this, and also one very seriously ill baby. And so I've been available for the parents to see them, these babies through, and even my grandson. So boy, have I had to step up, and my grandson is totally all good. Got him back up and running after one huge session. So I'm now going to, after this, work on another puppy that's incredibly ill. So it's been an incredible journey this week. I've also a loved one had passed, and we'd gone through the funeral. And one thing was really amazing for me is I've made my body so much more sensitive. I've put the work in, but by doing so, I become incredibly sensitive to people that have had the boosters. And so I was hugged and at the funeral, and yeah, it affected me. It really affected me. It takes me a couple of days to find my grounding, find my feet again, and come back out. But because I've been needed in so many directions, I've had to really put a lot of work into myself to get myself back up. And yeah, so it's going to be an early night, because even I struggle with my sleep at the moment, because I'm on 24-hour watch pretty much helping these babies. And not only that, the energy is shifted, and you can feel what they're trying to do, and it's a standoff at the last. But I know it's like a hologram that is playing out in front of us at the moment. Don't buy into it, because I am watching so many beautiful dead people that haven't been able to cope with it anymore, and they've merged themselves back into their normal life. Well, that's given your energy into their energy. We need you strong souls. Just, if I totally get that it's really hard, I know. But don't go back into your normal world. Create your new world, not the old. Sit with it. Use your energy and vibrate the energy out. Okay, you can't watch all these other pieces rolling out there, but what you can do is fill your heart with gold, of pure white light. Build it up so we can all use it to get this completed, because honestly, I was just sitting there a few minutes before I've come on here, and all I saw is a hologram of no substance. And I felt like I stood there and I pushed against it, and I felt like my body went through it. So it's an illusion. Don't buy into it. Don't give it any strength, because love conquers all. Now, this was another interesting, I'm going to jump on a news topic, because during this week my guides keep putting different articles in front of me, and one of them was about the planes, and I've found this, and it's just really captivated me, and they just keep putting different information about them. So I'm going to speak about it, and I found it fascinating. Now, what it is the Boeing 747s. Do they actually fly, or do they levitate? This is all planes. Do they use jet fuel or is it kerosene? Even when you're boarding a plane, you can smell the fumes. And it's kerosene, aviation kerosene. It has that really distinctive smell. Now, we always have been told that the jet fuel is stored in the plane's wings. Now, what's really fascinating, I'm going to put some pictures up of the planes and where they have said they put the fuel stored in the wings. Now, I was doing some calculations and I've done a bit of research on this, but what's fascinating, because I've been all over the place on helping and been in so many locations, I've left a lot of my research somewhere else. So I can't get into the full depth, but if you look it up yourself, and don't go on Google, you go on Brave or DuckDuckGo and type in, do planes run on kerosene? And it's really fascinating. The other thing is then I looked more into they've used the kerosene to fire up the plane to get up. But once you get up, you know it then levels out. And this is where they've used, because they go to a certain height. I'm sorry, I can't pin that info down because it's at my other place. So, but they get to a certain altitude level and then it's just goes straight across. And this is where they've tapped into the free energy. This is something we have not been told. We've been told all about how it's costing, the fuel price has gone up. But what I'm going to put in here is that for the amount of fuel that the Boeing 747 is meant to hold, they've said it on the website, the gas tank capacity is 63,500 gallons and may burn 5 gallons of jet fuel per mile of flight. Now, from here, for 63,500 gallons of fuel, I'll locate and show you. I dialed that up and I looked for a tanker that would hold 63,500 gallons. And it's huge. It is way bigger than the aeroplane. Even if you filled up the whole aeroplane, I just still don't even think it would hold that. But anyway, when they've said it holds it in the wings, is this a hoax? Because it's not possible. So then we did the calculations and looked at petrol tankers and how much they can hold. It's really quite amazing because the petrol tankers themselves, I've actually got it on another phone. I'm really organised today. But for the amount of fuel that they say that the plane carries, it's equivalent to 5 petrol tankers. So there's an actual picture that I found and it has the 5 petrol tankers and with the plane. There's no way. There's no way. But hey, what do I know? Look into it because it's really interesting. What have they tapped into? Have they been flying the planes on free energy? And now they're starting to say, or look into this. Well, I think they've already looked into it because it is. When you sit in the plane, it's like a levitation. You're just going through time. Another, while I was looking this up, they were also showing you that earlier, years ago, to get into A to B, they would give you a time schedule of when you would get there. But now, 2022, it's way longer. How's that even possible? So yeah, it's something I would thought you may be interested. And so yeah, with the tankers, that was really interesting when you could actually see the actual pictures. I thought you'd be really, really interested in that. So is the jet fuel a hoax? And are they using free energy? Is this real? Ask yourself. So I had a look up kerosene and asked, are the planes run using kerosene, aviation kerosene, and why? So this is what it came back at. It has a low freezing point, it is a low velocity, is highly flammable, it's affordable, and it's considered an all-round safe choice. Planes fly at extremely high altitudes, flying in sub-zero temperatures, which is low freezing point, like kerosene. So the fuel functions properly without solidifying during flight. All kerosene is highly flammable and more than diesel, which gives it the explosive burning qualities required for takeoff. So what I was learning while I was researching this is that they're using the kerosene to get the momentum for that, to ascend, to take off, I should say. And then there's don't quote me, there was something like 6,000, there was a certain height that the planes fly, and that's where I think they tap into it then. But they use the kerosene when they go to descend, so they're the 2 points of when they'll use it. But hey, look into it, because I thought you'd be really, really interested in that. The other thing I wanted to just pull up, there's a video that's going around on the pods and for parents that cannot have children, and you use your sperm and the egg, and what they do, they plant this, and it's in an incubator, and you can actually on real time have it connected into your phone, so you can watch your baby grow. You can send vibration, and there was so much about this when I was looking into it that they really did a good sell, and it's really impressive. And I know myself, if I was in that situation, and if I didn't know what I know, I would have been persuaded. I can see that. They've really sold it well. But when they were talking about that they have manufactured this baby, and what I was concerned about is that, okay, so you've brought the egg and the sperm and you've created, but with it not being of when the soul of the child chooses to come in, that is when I start having a bit of a problem, because what happens, from what I've known on the spiritual side, is that the soul of the child chooses its parents. And that is when it all comes together. And later on in the time, that is when the soul comes through for when mum gives birth. Now, we're not having to give birth. So it's just a touch of a button when the baby is to be born. There is no morning sickness, there is no cramps, there is no having to carry, and there is no having to give birth. Well, that in itself, you've taken all of nature out. You've put that to the side. So I watched this whole video, and what I did see and what I felt and what my guides were guiding me is that these are soulless babies that are going to be coming in. They're like soldiers. And then it flicked off a thought pattern that came through, is this is like the Chinese military. It's like they're just soldiers. They don't look like they have souls. Have they created them like this? Because they were saying they could produce up to 30,000 of these babies in that year. So I'm really sus. I did hear a few comments that came through and said, oh my goodness, this is what my sister-in-law needs, blah, 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 blah. My biggest take is that they showed you what would normally come through the umbilical cord from the mother comes through from an artificial chemicals, and we're talking chemicals through to the body. They can be putting anything in there. This baby can completely be modified before it's born. And how are they bringing the soul in? That is one of the biggest things. To me, it's a no-brainer for me. I wouldn't even go there because it's an artificial child with no soul. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up, because this week I've had to rescue 3 newborns. And they had got really sick, and I'd been called or asked to look in on these babies and tune in. Now, each one of them came in without their souls. And this I'm finding really alarming, because I've seen it once or twice, and even a family member's baby I've had to rescue. And so I know what happens. So when the baby gets ill, and if they've come in without the soul, the body itself gets weak. And when the body gets weak, then they really don't have much time here on earth. So one baby was completely crying all the time, and I tapped in through the mother because I was giving her some healing, and went through the umbilical cord and connected with Bubby. And I saw straight away that his soul was outside of his body. So with her permission, I then went and spoke to that child and connected and brought the child into the body. And she said, oh, you know, when do you think we should see something from this? And I said, straight away, honestly, straight away. And I said, you'll be quite surprised what's going to happen, because I saw the change up in him. So sure enough, I heard through the grapevine is that baby stopped crying, and that baby hasn't stopped for quite some time. And yeah, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. There was another child, again, was very ill. And so I tapped in with permission of the mother and had a look, and sure enough, the soul was outside the body. Again, I had to do this. And third time, I had nothing to go by, but baby was not feeding, and it was only so many days old. And instinctively I said, get the child to the hospital. And but then I thought, I'm overreacting. That's really mean, because it can scare the mother. But anyway, long story short, he was cleared by the doctors and the midwife. And I just knew instinctively there was something wrong. So with my friend, we tapped in, and sure enough, the soul was out of the body. But before I put Bubby back into the body, I intuitively spoke to the child, and he told me that his body was burning. His body was burning so much. So I said, we just need to do a healing first before we do this. And long story short, we put the sole back in. But baby was eventually found was to be incredibly ill. So baby is on recovery now, and we're going to go even further and deeper with the healing for him. And I feel so much stronger knowing that baby has his soul. And I know this baby's going to make it. I can feel it within my heart, my body and soul. So we're going to do some more healing on this baby. But what I have found fascinating is the babies that I'm also rescuing is that one of the parents has got the juice. So this is really amazing, I'm finding, because yeah, it's too coincidental now. But these babies are happy, and yes, I had to also rescue my grandson. He did have his soul. He just had been flying on a couple of planes, and he's picked up some virus. And so again, I had to go in and do some healing there. And I've worked with my quantum physics machine to make sure that we clear everything up there. So within an hour, they saw the difference, massive difference, because he was on a massive decline at the time. So I just wanted to share what I'm going through, what I'm seeing, what I'm working with, and to definitely 100% at the moment, it's like they're dropping something from the sky and making people sick. So what the biggest advice I can tell you is build your immune system up and do not be scared. Just get, I personally have been raised by colloidal silver. I gargle it in the back of my throat because this is where it harbors the bugs and the viruses. And as soon as I get any symptom or any sign, and it's really good for the kids because it tastes like water. So it's easy to get it into them. And build up on your vitamin C. Honestly, just do everything at the moment. We here in New Zealand are in our summer, and honestly, you'd think it is our winter. We've got heat, we've got cold, we've got winds, we've got rain. It's permanently raining at the moment. We've got a little bit of sun trying to come on through. So keep lifting your vibration, because honestly, they're going to do everything they can while they're finishing up this movie. To me, you keep your knowing strong, because when you know, nothing will stop you. And all you got to do is keep lifting and rising. Do not fall into their trap of making you think that nothing is happening, because it is. My God, it is. You can feel it. Look at yourself today to what we were nearly 3 years ago. We are so far ahead. Don't give in to what your heart is speaking. And this is also to all the parents at the moment. Use your intuitive side when you are working with your children, on working on anything out there at the moment, because your heart is really singing. You've tuned yourself in more. The vibration of Mother Earth has lifted. She is tuning and waking you up so you can connect to your heart space. The more you connect to your heart space and be connected out there, the better. And if you are affected, like I do, and you know, even your babies and loved ones, kick your shoes off outside, ground yourself, because honestly, that is the best medicine I have found getting you through. And honestly, meditation all the way. So take time for you, and do not do it, because you deserve it. And honestly, something's really ready just to start cranking up in a positive way. So as much as they turn up the heat, there's something there that's going to neutralize it. So you be on the neutralizing side, you lift up, you connect to that, and you push back. Never give up. And I'll see you on the other side. So thank you for listening. And it was just a little bit of extra that I just keep finding along the way. And we keep it up positive to keep our vibes high. So like, share. Let's see if you can click that subscribe button and kick it out the way, because honestly, it ain't moving. And I know there are more and more people listening. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being there. Thank you for being on the team out there. Thank you for being so in tune with yourself and wanting to be here for your grandchildren and all your loved ones. Because if you're anything like mine, they're slowly waking up. Slowly is the word, but they are waking up. There's more and more realizing I don't like this and I don't like that and what's happening. And he's, and I just keep yourself grounded, keep yourself in a high vibe because you'll get through this. I love you and thank you. Till next time. Bye.